So we're going to be talking about potential financial collapse and money stuff. So why we're talking about this is probably the first question initially. And yeah, the national debt's at the highest level since the 1960s. So we already know this country's not in the greatest position financially. We are essentially a rich country when it comes to comparing us against other third world countries, stuff like that. So don't get me wrong, I'm not going, woe is me, look at us living in third world poverty. But it does feel like something on the horizon. Inflation and interest rates super high and have been for quite a while. Low economic growth, despite them going, oh, we've had the fastest growth since. If you generalize that over the last 20, 30 years, we've got crap growth, frankly. Corporate distress is another key factor. And this is what happens when Rachel from accounts whacks on the national insurance onto companies and stuff like that, and increases company tax and tax the rich as the left-wing agenda goes. What happens is the rich go, well, I'm getting out of here. And we've seen a mass exodus of richer people leaving the country, looking to leave the country, looking to close down businesses. And of course, that puts us in a risk of a complete doom loop where we've no money to do the stuff we need, so we increase taxes, and then people are spending less, which doesn't encourage growth, so then they have to increase taxes, and it goes like this to the point, we're getting to the point now, aren't we, where we're struggling to live. I know firsthand, as a one-income household, it's a nightmare. It is physically, you've just got to graft and graft and graft and do whatever you can for as a sideline. Anyone else out there struggling, I feel sorry for you, but this is the reason we prep, right? This is the reason, no matter if I've got £0 in my bank account, I can still keep my family warm, feed them, and stuff like that. What I want from you guys through this is thrifty suggestions, how to save money, how to financially prepare for something like this, and that's what we'll come to at the end. And any super chats and stuff like that, they'll be prioritized because they get automatically starred for me. I need, when JP was on the live, when we did the Scottish Prep meet, he could go through the comments for me. I need somebody to do that. Right. So that's the stuff that's going on around the country that you already know about. That is, but what's changed this week? Why do this video now? Well, let's have a really quick brief look. And I'm not going to read through pages and pages of stuff. You can Google stuff and find it yourself. I'm just going to give you a rough idea of the headlines we're seeing this week alone. So I'm going to share my screen, make sure I click the right button and share the right screen. That's the one. So this is the UK Parliament just stating when the budget's coming out, which is on Wednesday, the 26th of November. D-Day. This is going to make Liz Truss's mini budget disappear. Nobody's going to even remember it after this, I'm telling you. What's the headline saying? So, The Guardian, UK economy doomed under Labour, says Ryanair chief. There's £1 trillion crash waiting to happen from Funding for the Future from taxresearch.org. Panicking Reeves could cripple economy with 2p income tax hike. The first 50 years. Can't speak. The first in 50 years. She bows to Labour MPs kicking welfare reforms into the long grass. Britain doomed under Labour as wealthy scramble to get the hell out of London. Ryanair boss Michael O'Leary warns. So Ryanair's had this is what I was saying about the corporate distress, people trying to get out of there. They're on a ticking clock now. This is the Telegraph. This is the beginning of the end for both Reeves and Starmer's government. And the Standard, threat of income tax rise grows as Rachel Reeves gives clear signs she will break Labour manifesto pledge. So there you go. We're not going to go and read through the whole thing. You guys can read. I'm not going to condescend you that much. I was just showing you the headlines, and that is this week alone. That's the inspiration behind doing this. So, I mean, there's lots of different things off of this. There's conspiracy theories that they want to do this. This is how they get their Marxist agenda across when we all suddenly become totally reliant on the state because we can't afford to live. If you're pushing a wheelbarrow full of money to buy your bread, it's an issue, right? So, the currency crisis, most immediate and dramatic sign would be near total collapse of the pound sterling value. So, that's the first, like, biggest thing. We're already seeing crypto dropping and stuff like that across world markets through many different reasons. Sometimes it's because Trump waved a wand and everyone got upset. But watch the pound value collapse. That's going to be one of the biggest things, which in turn has a knock-on effect of a potential banking failure, mass withdrawals, breakdown of the financial system, bank closures, freezing of bank accounts. They simply won't have the money to give you what you've got in your bank. And there's going to be more effects. We'll go on to the effects, but is there a solution? Before we go total doom and gloom, is there a solution? Yes, of course, there's always a solution. A massive bailout from an international body. Like who? Like the International Monetary Fund, which would come with severe austerity conditions, including deep spending cuts and tax rises. Not a conspiracy theory. I'm not doing a conspiracy theory. You know, we haven't been saying this for the last year. Anyway, what are the other effects of this? Mass unemployment, businesses failed en masse due to lack of credit, consumer demand collapses, crippling import costs, unemployment would soar. It already is. To levels unseen since 1930s. Soaring prices and shortages. Hyperinflation makes goods unaffordable. Disruptions to global supply chains, etc. Yeah, so shortages of everything, especially like essential goods, fuels, and things like that. Medicine is another massive one as well there on the shortages. The housing crisis, there's already a housing crisis, let's be fair, so we can just ignore that point. It's already going, but there'll be a surge in repossessions and homelessness. Private landlords will just sell up. It's the only way, if they've got to sell an entire house so they can buy this week's shopping, you're going to be the last thing on their mind. Erosion of savings and pensions. People's cash savings would be wiped out by hyperinflation. That's just common sense, right? You got £50,000 in the bank right now, can do quite a lot with that. If it's suddenly £1,000 for a loaf of bread, it's suddenly not as good. NHS and social care, which is already on the brink of collapse, they would basically have to completely cut back or even stop public services. They just wouldn't have the funding to do so. And of course, finally, breakdown of law and order because we just wouldn't tolerate it for that long, right? And infrastructure failure on top of that. So scary. It's really, really scary. And it feels like that almost sometimes it feels orchestrated, but then you think, who in their right mind would wish this upon a population at all? And I've seen lots of videos about like saying this is their plan all along, this is their agenda, this is what they want to do, and maybe to get the bailout from the International Monetary Fund is the way that they take ultimate power, as it were. It's just, yeah, it's scary. I'm looking forward to reading your comments on this one. Definitely, there's 95 comments behind as I'm in my notes at the moment. But we need to talk about preparing. How do you prepare for this? And I'm not talking about wealth preservation. I'm not talking about metals. If you can get precious metals, silvers and golds, brilliant, bonus, 100% a bonus. That wouldn't be my first port of call. I wouldn't be putting any money into precious metals if I didn't have 90 days worth of food at least. Water, other equipment, stuff for civil unrest, stuff for security. It all boils down to that core of prepping we always talk about. I don't want to put any extreme stuff onto you saying, you need to go out and buy weapons and shields and armor and stuff like that. It's not about that. It's about right now we're on a countdown of this way of life we're currently used to. You want to preserve that way of life as much as possible. So what can you buy now to preserve that way of life in the future? There's already 100% food inflation on some items since this time last year. I did a video on it, shopping. 100% in a year, and that's without a collapse. It feels like it's the beginning of the end, doom and gloom. I know that sounds really doom and gloom, but I want it to provoke you into how do we mitigate this. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all in another video really soon.